Hello students, you know what they say, 15th time is a charm. I'm not going to tell you how many times I've started this video over, but let's get started here. I wanted to begin this video today, or wanted to make this video today to go over our history of Christianity. I gave the readings to you about the spread of Christianity and the breakup within Christianity quite some time ago, and haven't had a chance to go over the answers with you yet. So, the purpose of today's video is to talk about the history of Christianity, the spread of Christianity from Rome to the Crusades, and then the divisions within Christianity, creating and expanding Christianity throughout the rest of the world. So we are going to begin here with the spread of Christianity from Rome to the Crusades, starting with a look at Christianity and the Roman Empire. So as you know from your reading here, the first question asked you about what helped aid the spread of Christianity throughout the Roman Empire, and that was the Roman tradition of freedom of religion, which within almost 400 years is going to be stopped by Theodosius. So let's look at how this early Jesus movement, as we talked about from those Gospels, went from Christians that were practicing in secret to being able to be the religion of the empire. In 312, Constantine, who was a Roman general, converted to Christianity on the battlefield. He had a vision, and later that year he became emperor. When he did, Christians were protected to be able to practice their religion freely and openly, and they built churches quickly. By the end of that century, Theodosius, new emperor, declared Christianity the state religion and outlawed other practices. So, by the time we get to 400, right, the end of the 4th century, we see that Christianity is now not persecuted, but it will be persecuting other religions by not letting those practices take place. If you remember, this kind of overlaps in Jewish history with some of the anti-Semitism and persecution that we saw throughout Jewish history. This map here is going to go over and kind of shows that spread of Christianity throughout the Roman Empire. From 200, we see all these little pockets around Rome, and especially in what was the land of Palestine or Israel, where Jesus was first preaching, and throughout the Mediterranean region there, and then how it expands by the year 400 throughout the Roman Empire as it's adopted as the official religion. As the Roman Empire crumbled, however, the Roman Catholic Church is going to flourish. So what we're going to see happen is that while political institutions fall, this religious institution is going to become a pillar in European history. During the Dark and Early Middle Ages, it was the only accepted religion. Catholic comes from the Middle English Catholic, Old French, and Latin, which means universal or whole. So it's referring to the religion there as a whole. And life is going to be completely dominated by the Roman Catholic Church during this time period. Here's another map of the expansion of those Christian areas throughout the Roman Empire. As you can see, it goes throughout that Mediterranean region, Spain, France, Italy, that Balkan territory, Turkey, in the Middle East, and Northern Africa here as well. This church structure that is going to be created once it's the official religion of the Roman Empire is going to lead to the creation of these parishes that are going to be overseen by priests, and then those parishes will be led by a bishop in the form of a diocese. The Bishop of Rome is going to claim authority over the other bishops as the Papa or Pope. The Western churches will become the Roman Catholic Church and accept the Pope. The Eastern churches, which will become the Eastern Orthodox Church after the Great Schism, did not. By the time we get to the Great Schism, right, what you can see here is the extent of Christianity on this map to these yellow areas, so out into the Russian Empire, out across the Middle East, and again into North Africa. The green and brown includes the empire under Constantine, and then the Holy Roman Empire is in brown here as well. This red line across Europe signifies the separation of the Western and Eastern Church, and this is what the Great Schism is, this divide in Europe between the Roman Catholics and the Eastern Orthodox Christians. the church in the Middle Ages, as you guys read about, is the dominant force in life in Europe. It is going to control basically how people live their lives and how they behave. The church owned a lot of land. They had their own systems of laws and taxes. They had political power over kings and rulers in Europe. It was really a height of power then for the Roman Catholic Church. And then it kind of culminates with these crusades that the Christians are going to fight. So this time period, right after the Great Schism, is the Crusades. They started in 1095 under Pope Clermont. They are the Holy Wars. The crusade is the Old French word for croix or cross. So these were wars fought by the Christian nations of Europe to rescue holy places of Palestine from the ruling Muslims. So this really were holy wars between Christians and Muslims. In 1065, Jerusalem was taken by the Turks, which were Muslim, and 3,000 Christians were massacred, starting a chain of events that contributed to the cause of the Crusades. The objective of the Crusades was to release the Holy Land, in particular Jerusalem, from the Muslims, but in time it extended to seizing Spain from the Moors, who were Muslim rulers there, and the Slavs from non-Christian rule in Eastern Europe as well. In total, there were 9 crusades lasting 200 years. The first 4 are called the Principal Crusades, the remaining 4 are the Minor Crusades, and then, of course, there was the infamous Christians' Crusade that was a devastating loss. So these are just a list of those crusades, and you can see here on this map the crusades that existed as well. Now, while they caused, obviously, like wars are not good in terms of human life and that cost, but the effects of these crusades is going to lead to more power of the Roman Catholic Church, but also it's going to set the seeds. This interaction between cultures is going to set the seeds for huge changes that we see in European history, including the Renaissance, leading to the Age of Exploration, the Enlightenment, and early industrial development. So this interaction between cultures and people is going to have a huge effect on European history that you learned about your freshman year in high school. So that would be that first reading about the spread of Christianity from Rome to the Crusades. And the next one talks about division and expansion and those big time periods, including the Great Schism, the Reformation, and Christianity spreading abroad and bringing us up to today. So I wanted to continue by going over that part. I wonder if this is going to let me go full screen here. Oh, it will. So bring me over there. The Great Schism in 1054 divided the Roman Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox Church over doctrinal, theological, linguistic, political, and geographic lines. All right, so what that's saying is where it was in Europe, where it was really practiced, these divisions, rejecting the Pope, other things like when they practice Easter, the nature of the Holy Spirit, and the use of iconography in the church. So what we see in Europe is a division here, and I have the division lines here. Basically, that's splitting Eastern and Western Europe over the beliefs in the Roman Catholic Church, so in the Eastern Orthodox Church. So that was in 1054. The result is this split between the two. So, and you guys, answered questions about that in the Kahoot, so I'm not going to go over that a lot more right here. But the next change that we see is 500 years later with the Protestant Reformation. This came out of a growing sense of nationalism in Germany and, of course, the invention of the printing press, Gutenberg's printing press, that allowed for this quick spread of ideas and accessibility to the Bible. For the first time, the Bible could be printed on its own. People were more literate. They could read it on their own, and they started to realize they didn't need a priest to be able to interpret these teachings for them. They could read directly from the Bible themselves. So this is what leads to the Protestant Reformation. They are protesting, obviously. It was a German monk, Martin Luther, in 1517, who nailed his 95 complaints about the Roman Catholic Church on a church door. Most of those complaints signified around corruption in the church, particularly its sale of indulgences, or these papal documents that allowed forgiveness of sins for people who had previously passed away, or if you wanted to buy them for sins that you had committed or future sins, you could do all of that. They also sold church offices. So if you wanted to become a bishop or if you wanted to become a cardinal, that was something that would be corruptly purchased by somebody in the church. And Martin Luther basically complained about all of that. He was trying to reform the Catholic Church, but in essence, he ended up creating an entirely new branch of Christianity, which was the Protestant faith. Obviously, that comes from the root that he was protesting. And we're going to see lots of branches off of that. So the Protestant division of Christianity has the most diversity in terms of participants and their beliefs, as you guys read about in those Christian denominations readings. Which brings us to colonialism. One of the things that we saw with imperialism in the late 1800s was one of the arguments in favor of it was to spread Christianity and their beliefs around the world. So what we saw is as Europeans and America, we were late into the game, but especially those Western Europeans, as they traveled around the world to explore and create new places where they could get materials that they needed for industrialization and sell the goods that they were making from industrialization, was the spread of their Christian beliefs. So particularly by the time we get to the late 1800s, we see the spread of Christianity into Africa and Asia. And that is going to lead to many different diverse Christian beliefs and the spread of Christianity throughout the entire world. So at this point, Christianity is 32% of the world's population, or about 2.18 billion adherents or followers. It is the world's largest religion of our world religions that we're studying this year, and it also has a very diverse amount of beliefs and practices based on some of its history. So religious freedom, for example, in the United States led to many different Christian groups arriving in the colonies and sharing their beliefs and their practices, and just having those diversity of beliefs that we continue to see through today. Alrighty, I think that's it for this, and quite frankly, 12 minutes is a little bit longer than I think we were all hoping for today. So with that, if you have any questions about it, let me know, but we're going to call that a wrap, and then I just have a Google form for you guys to fill out with this after you finish watching it. Thank you so much. I hope that you have a wonderful day. You guys have been a great audience, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully in person soon. Bye-bye.